Throughout time, people across the world told each other tales of how they came to be, of heroes and monsters, romance and tragedy, death and rebirth. Mythology helped shape the ancient world, explaining the unexplainable. This is Mythology Unleashed. Zeus, the mighty sky father of Olympus, was notorious for his many affairs with mortal women. One such affair was with a princess of Thebes named Alcmena, the wife of Amphitryon. Their union led to the birth of a son named Heracles, better known by his Roman name, Hercules. Zeus's wife Hera disdained all of his demigod children, but this particular child she loathed beyond all reason. Bound to rid the world of this bastard child, Hera placed 2 deadly snakes in the infant's cradle. The snakes slithered around the child. But Hercules reached out and grasped a snake in either hand and crushed the life out of them. It was clear that this child, whose strength would one day eclipse all others, was destined for greatness and for great pain.
Know this, O child of Zeus, your suffering has only begun.
Hercules grew stronger every day, so strong that he even mistakenly killed his music tutor Linus. To better hone his strength, Hercules was sent to Mount Pelion to learn under the tutelage of the wise centaur Chiron, where he honed his strength, his knowledge, and his fighting prowess. As an adult, he was the strongest being in the cosmos, and the greatest warrior the world had ever seen. And yet, his greatest strength was that of his warm heart. But despite his talents and his virtues, Hercules was very much an outcast. Too strong and too powerful to be human, but too human to be a god. He walked 2 worlds, but belonged to neither one of them. And despite Hera's attempts, he would not die a quick death, for destiny had a plan for him, and even the gods could not defy destiny. Hercules soon found himself on a slew of adventures, defeating villains, slaying beasts, and accomplishing great feats, such as copulating with and impregnating all 50 daughters of King Thespius. In time, Hercules would save Thebes from invading minions, and was offered marriage to King Creon's daughter, Megara. Blissfully in love with Megara, the two were happily married, and soon had children. Seeing her chance to strike, Hera drove Hercules mad, and in a blind rage, he killed his entire family. Cackling in the heavens, Hera released Hercules from his trance so that he may see the horror that he had committed. Horrified, Hercules fled to Delphi to consult the oracle on how to obtain both amnesty and moral absolve for his great crime.
To erase this blood guilt and earn forgiveness from the gods and mankind, you must serve your cousin King Eurystheus for 12 years. Only then will your heart be cleared.
But it was a trick, for speaking through the oracle was Hera, and with her puppet King Eurystheus of Tyrants, she designed a series of impossible challenges intended to kill the hero. Challenges greater than any ever undertaken by man or the gods, and would be known forever as the labors of Hercules. First, he had to slay the Nemean Lion, a ravenous beast whose soft hide was more impervious than the strongest armor. After a vicious battle, Hercules managed to slay the creature by choking the life from its body with his bare hands. Using one of the lion's claws, he flayed the creature and wore its hide as an armored cloak. For his next labor, and with the aid of his nephew Hayleigh, he faced the Lernaean Hydra, a 9-headed serpentine dragon with lethal venom, noxious breath, and a vast appetite. Every time Hercules slashed off a head of the creature, 2 new ones would grow in its place. To make matters harder, Hera sent a pair of large crabs to distract the hero. Hercules and Hayleigh then began to cauterize each new wound with a torch, until the monster was dead and the crabs trampled underfoot. Afterward, Hercules dipped his arrows into the Hydra's venom, increasing their lethality tenfold. For his third and fourth labors, Hercules hunted down and captured 2 legendary beasts: the Cyrenian hind of Artemis, a deer so fast it could outrun an arrow in flight, and the vicious, man-eating Erymanthian boar. In an effort to humiliate Hercules, Eurystheus demanded him to clean the Augean stables within a day for his 5th labor. The stables had not been cleaned in a generation, but Hercules diverted the courses of 2 rivers to flow through the stables and clean them on time. His 6th labor had him face off against the Stymphalian Birds, a man-eating flock that pillaged surrounding villages, terrorizing them with beaks and claws as sharp as swords, feathers with razor edges, and poisonous feces. The birds lived in a secluded marshland, too treacherous for people to enter. So Hercules received his first help from the gods, in the form of Athena.
This is a rattle, made by Hephaestus. When shook, it sounds akin to a forest fire. Take it, Hercules. Give the birds cause to take flight.
Gratitude, dear goddess, for your aid in this matter. With Athena's rattle and his impressive archery, Hercules managed to drive the Stymphalian birds far away to the Black Sea region. For his 7th labor, he was sent to Crete to battle and capture the fire-breathing Cretan Bull, the father of the Minotaur. Following his conquest of the Cretan Bull, Hercules would often find himself saving others between labors, such as Alcestis and Admetus, a couple entangled with tragic fate. Hercules saved the couple from death by defeating Thanatos in a wrestling match. For his next labor, Hercules had to steal the man-eating horses of the Thracian tyrant Diomedes, and succeeded in doing so by feeding Diomedes to the horses. The battle continues into the 9th labor, where Hercules battled the Amazons to obtain the belt of Queen Hippolyta. On his journey home from Themyscira, Hercules saved the daughter of the Trojan king Laomedon from a vicious sea monster. But when Laomedon reneged on his promised reward of horses, Hercules swore revenge. Continuing with his labors, Hercules had to obtain the prized cattle of a triple-bodied monster called Geryon. But in order to get to Geryon, Hercules had to pass through a mountain range that conjoined Europe and Africa into one continent. With one strike, Hercules shattered the mountains and opened the Mediterranean to the Atlantic Ocean, creating the Strait of Gibraltar, or the Pillars of Hercules. He soon faced Geryon, and through force and cleverness overcame the monstrous opponent, and would later overcome another gigantic foe in the form of the fire demon Cagus for trying to steal the cattle. For his 11th labor, he sought out the Garden of the Hesperides to pick the golden apples that grew there. Not knowing where the garden was, Hercules sought the disgraced Titan Prometheus. Upon seeing the poor Titan, Hercules slew the Caucasian eagle that ate at him, and proceeded to free Prometheus from his age-old bonds.
Wise Prometheus, I seek the garden of the Hesperides.
Far to the west, and across the sea, seek the valley of Atlas. My brother will aid you in your quest.
Making his way to the northern reaches of Africa, Hercules wandered the desert until he found the valley and battled the garden's keeper, a dragon called Ladon. After the fight of his life, Hercules met Atlas, the Titan doomed to bear the weight of heaven on his shoulders, yet one who knew the location of the apples.
I will retrieve the golden apples for you, if you would but bear my burden for a short while.
And with that, Hercules bore the weight of the heavens upon his shoulders. When Atlas returned, he attempted to leave Hercules with the burden. But through his own trickery, Hercules manipulated Atlas into taking the burden back. His 12th and final labor took him into the underworld, a place where no living soul could escape once entered. Hercules was tasked to capture Cerberus, the three-headed dog who guards the realm of Hades. After shattering the boatman's wrist, Hercules confronted Hades and Persephone in regards to Cerberus.
You may take Cerberus, but on a few conditions.
First, you must overcome Cerberus without the use of weapons. Second, Cerberus must not be killed or seriously injured.
Lastly, Cerberus must be returned to the underworld.
Hercules cornered Cerberus, and the two engaged in a fierce battle. Their fight shook both the underworld and the world above. Cerberus's head snarling with rage, and Hercules fighting harder than ever before. In time, Hercules wore down the creature and hauled him to the surface. Eurystheus, upon seeing the terrifying creature, released Hercules from his labors, and Cerberus bound back to Hades. With his labors finished, Hercules was freed from his penance, though he carried the scars of his deeds and his labors for many years. Hercules continued on helping those in need, and went on a slew of other adventures, serving Queen Omphale, sailing with Jason and the Argonauts, aiding Meleager in the hunt for the Caledonian boar, restoring Tyndareus to the throne of Sparta, exacting revenge on Laomedon, and placing his son Priam as the king of Troy, even saving the Olympian gods from the onslaught of the Gigantes. In time, Hercules married once again to a princess named Deianira. One fateful day, the couple came upon a vast river guarded by a centaur named Nessus. Nessus offered to ferry the maiden across the river, but he ran off with Deianira with intent to rape her. Hercules shot the centaur with an arrow, the hydra's venom quickly coursing through the creature's veins. As Nessus died, he bade Deianira to save a vial of his blood, and if she ever suspected Hercules of being unfaithful, she can use it as a potion to renew his love for her. Years later, Deianira began to worry, and made her husband a cloak soaked in Nessus's blood. As Hercules donned the garment, the venom of the Hydra seeped into his pores, burning him alive, slowly killing him. In grief, Deianira hung herself, and Hercules built himself a massive funeral pyre and was lit ablaze. But at that moment, Zeus called down from the heavens,
My son, your suffering ends now. Olympus
awaits you.
And in a flash of lightning, Hercules' shade was brought to Olympus, where he was made a god. Zeus embraced his son, and Hera admitted defeat, granting Hercules her daughter Hebe as his wife. Hercules' story endures for both his godlike strength and willpower, as well as his very human heart. He was a fierce warrior, a devoted friend, a passionate lover, full of human faults like lust and rage, but also many virtues of honor, of courage, and compassion. Through his labors, he made the world safe for mankind, and was dubbed the Lion of Olympus, the divine protector of mankind.